Howdy out there.
Howdy.
Hey, we're continuing on with our series on how to become an embodied Catholic leader. We're talking about the ownership principle. We're looking at Melancholics.
Yes.
Hey, fellow Melancholics, how do we own things?
Yeah.
Where do we get it wrong?
Or not own things. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And Matt is going to be the sample melancholic because it's his secondary temperament.
It's a strong secondary.
But hey, if you haven't taken our temperaments assessment, the link is in the show notes, and it's free, and it's 10 minutes long.
Check it out. Check it in the show notes. We'll see you, team. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back to the Catholic Coaching Podcast. We are
Yes.
continuing on with our leadership series.
And we're both sick. So we're still going to show up like 100%,
Yeah,
but our
live from
voices
the infirmary.
our voices sound a little like Chucky.
Chucky Finster.
Chucky Finster from Rugrats. That's what my voice sounds like.
I know, you've got this cute little peppermint patty voice.
No, this is like the nasally voice. That's not cute.
A nice, cute, butch peppermint patty voice.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt, you're so flattering. Okay, continuing on with our series, Becoming an Embodied Catholic Leader. We're going through our leadership principles, and we're looking at them through the lens of unique design. What are we using for unique design?
Temperaments.
The temperaments. Okay, so we're continuing on with our principle of ownership, and we're looking at the melancholic. How does the melancholic lean in and live out and embody this principle of ownership? So when we talk about ownership, there's two things here that somebody's got to own. We've got owning. You go for it, babe.
Owning their God's design
Yeah.
for them, which is really just owning their thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Yeah,
And how that works.
Yeah, literally the reality, like owning the reality that what we think is transfers into emotions and then into actions and behaviors.
Custody of the mind, if you will.
Yes, right? The incarnational process of God's design. And then own your property lines. We talk about our two circles, right? And the fact that we all have these little boundaries. We have things that are ours. I have my thoughts, my feelings, my actions, my decisions, my reasons, my values, all those things that are mine, all right? And Erin, she's got hers. She's got her own set, right? And if we don't own, if we get confused with the property lines, if I try to own something, if I try to own Erin's thoughts, try to own Erin's emotions, it really doesn't work out well. And it makes it very, very messy. And you will show up as more manipulative than you will as an influencer. More on that in our next series, which is
Yeah,
influence.
but I think another way that you don't own your property lines is you abdicate something that's yours over to somebody else as well.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so it can go either way. You can either try to take something that's not yours and fix it, or give them something that is not theirs
Yes. Okay.
to fix.
So when we talk about owning and we talk about going outside those property lines, this is kind of a little bit of a snapshot into a new workshop that we have, Becoming an Embodied Catholic Leader, okay? And it's a temperaments backdrop to all really embodying these different principles, okay? So this is something that we do. You can hire us and call us in. We can come to your church, come to your parish, come to your organization, and we can do this leadership training with you all that really considers the unique design of the people on your team and how this shows up. But specifically here, where we go outside of our property lines or abdicate what's inside our property lines often happens as a repercussion of our triggers that we have. Okay, it's one of those areas that we actually explore in this workshop.
Yep.
And so what we're going to be doing is looking at what are some of the triggers of the melancholic today. Because when that melancholic just falls and submits to those triggers, they're going to abdicate things that are theirs, stop owning what's theirs, and they're going to try to grasp at ownership of something that's not theirs. Okay, that will never work out well.
It doesn't.
Okay.
Nope.
And so I'm going to be the sample melancholic today. It's my secondary. It's my strong secondary. So I'm going to be in the Coach E seat, and Erin's going to coach me. And we're going to go through two examples of, say, in my own life where I fell to my triggers and where I abdicated, stopped working in my place of contribution, really fell into more of a place of weakness or operating in overuse patterns, and really did not show up as an embodied Catholic leader at that. So,
All right.
cool.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Erin. Hello.
What has been triggering you lately?
I feel triggered when... No, so one of my triggers that I experienced somewhat recently was, and if I look at our worksheet that we've got that we do in our workshop, it's being surrounded by people who harshly judge and critique me. Okay.
Do you have an example?
So we were on a call with our team. It was a Zoom call, and I know I was in with you, obviously, in the room, and I can't even remember what we were explaining.
Yeah.
But I know that I was just getting really frustrated and felt like I wasn't being taken seriously. Or I thought I wasn't being taken seriously in this moment. And because the team kept asking questions, which is kind of funny because like an ideal environment for a melancholic is like to be able to ask clarifying questions on things.
Interesting.
But I was making that mean something so much more. I was making it mean that like I wasn't being taken seriously. Or I was being judged by my team harshly. Like they're questioning my plan. They're judging my plan. Therefore, I feel triggered, right? I start to therefore, really the feeling was I felt...
How did you feel?
I felt frustrated. I felt stupid too. That was more of a thought, like I'm stupid. Because that was one of the thoughts that was coming up was like, I remember thinking like, am I taking crazy pills? Like that was one thought. It's like, why can't they get this? Why is this so hard to understand? That was also like a question that I was asking.
So really the thought was, I feel stupid.
Well, yeah, I was like, am I the stupid one? Like those are kind of the questions. I must be stupid.
Right.
Like I must be the dummy in the room, obviously.
And then you felt frustrated from that?
Yeah, frustrated was also like embarrassed.
Embarrassed, okay.
Yeah.
And then from embarrassed, what did you do? Like, how did you show up?
Well, I actually, it's funny to say it out loud now, but I kept explaining things again and again, but not changing the way that I explained it. So I explained it in the same way where the first time and the second time it led to confusion on the team. And I actually just kept saying the same thing again and again. And I kept getting the, glossed over looks back at me like, I don't understand, no comprende. And I was just like, and it just repeated the cycle where it's just like, I am like, what is going on here? Am I surrounded by idiots or something like that?
So you like judged others?
Oh, totally went to judgment.
And you just kept doing the same thing over and over again. What else did you do?
Well, I can tell you, I felt very powerless. I actually said out loud at one point, I was like, am I taking crazy pills here? Like, what is going on? Like, and almost like I played dumb to just the reality that people just didn't understand what I hadn't communicated this clearly enough, and people didn't get it, and they were just asking clarifying questions. And so I started to get condescending too. Like even what am I taking crazy pills? It's kind of like, okay, dummies, like you haven't figured this out. Like why can't you get this? It's so simple. But something that was so simple, I was still not explaining it in a way that was simple to understand.
Okay.
So what
was the result from all of those actions?
Oh, there's no clarity.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't get any clarity. And that's even like a strong point or something I consider a strength is that I'm good at creating a clear vision that people willingly rally behind. And so here I just wasn't even getting, I can't even remember what it was about, but I just remember the frustration over it. And just
the thought
being
was
very judgmental. Yes.
The thought was, I'm stupid. Or what was the thought again? It was like, am I stupid? It was a question.
It was more of a question, but like
it's
like, yeah, I'm obviously the dumb one here. Or it's like, I'm stupid. It's like, yeah, that's where the embarrassment came in.
Sure.
But also it was like I felt powerless. That it led me to a place of feeling powerless to be able to even explain it in a way people could understand.
Yeah.
But of course, it's like all flowing from this thought, I'm stupid. So stupid people can't explain things.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So, okay. So reflecting back on this, let's start with what was outside of your locus of control?
I mean, the reality that my team was asking questions. That's outside my locus of control.
So, by the way, if you're just listening to this one for the first time, locus of control is why can't I
that with it which is within, that's it. Which is within your authority. Right?
Yes.
And like you can
inside of locus of control. Outside is that is whatever. I'm not going to try to say that. Things that are outside of within your locus of control.
With which outside?
I don't know how to say it, but you know what I mean. So there are things like circumstances, other people, other people's thoughts, other people's emotions, today. Other people's actions.
Yes.
All those things are outside your locus of control. Okay.
Yes.
So what was outside your locus of control?
I mean, like the fact that they were asking questions, the fact that they shared that they didn't understand and they said these words, I don't understand. The quizzical looks on their face.
Okay.
Were outside of my locus of control.
What was in your locus of control?
Oh, my frustration, my interpretation of the quizzical looks.
The thought I'm stupid.
The thought I'm stupid. The thought that like the team just doesn't get it. The thought like there's something wrong with them. All of my judgments, that was inside my locus of control. Like even the ability to present it in a different way, present the vision in a different way. Like the method by which I communicated the vision, or the words that I used to communicate the vision, or the pictures, or like whatever, that was within my locus of control. Or even being like, hey, like, how about we just like stop with the vision and we just pause and like we diagnose the confusion here. Like that's something that was in my locus, like even the way to go forward.
Yeah.
And mind you, it was like a Friday afternoon, like after our wins call that we do, which is like not a work call, and it bled over into work. So that was also something where it's just like, hey, why don't we just go into the weekend, and revisit this when we're fresh and take it up at our ops meeting.
So all of these other options, all of these other things that you could have chosen to do were within your locus of control.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to go back to that thought, I'm stupid, right? Or I'm taking crazy pills, whatever it is,
Feels so good. Feels so powerless.
Right. I mean, like, do you want to continue? I know this sounds like a dumb question, but do you want to keep like thinking that when people have quizzical looks, when you have these moments where people are looking at you going, huh?
You know what? There's a part of here. Well, the answer is no, I don't. But when I look at it, it's like, why did I choose that in the first place? I think it's just like, I think of Will Ferrell saying like, what am I taking crazy pills here? He's got one look.
Yeah.
That's what is it?
I don't know.
Zoolander.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. So like
Blue Steel.
He's got one look. So like that's me thinking I'm inserting levity into this and it's fun and we're connecting here, but it like really was not leading to that. I was actually starting to believe that I was taking crazy pills. So so yeah, it wasn't leading to any sort of resolution.
So that I'm stupid. That's the thought though, really underneath it. Like the am I taking crazy pills is kind of like,
what am I surrounded by idiots here?
Yeah, exactly. It was like that. It was like you trying to make light of it, but you were still frustrated and embarrassed by it, right?
Yes.
So whose voice would that be?
Ooh, good coaching question, Erin.
I'm stupid.
That is it's a very much a condemnation from the enemy. Yep. Okay. So I can see how that the fruits of that were more enemy related fruits than good spirit related fruits.
I mean, is there a percentage of it that is like could we give it like equal airtime, right? Like, is there a percentage that's like true, and then there's a percentage that's not true about this? Like
a percentage of me believing I'm stupid and not being okay?
Well, obviously it's very condemning and not very nice. But maybe there is just like a lack of information.
Well, it's like
that's what I'm saying.
It's like, I'm not being clear. Like that's something that's like, okay.
What else could be said that's equally as accurate, but like feels less embarrassing and condemning?
You do this all the time. Like even when it's like, I haven't presented properly really what the vision was here. Like that's like totally okay. I haven't really translated this well, or even like creating a little bit of grace for myself, where it's just like, okay, like I haven't fully baked this thought here, guys, yet. So like even leaving a little bit of space for it not to be this well-baked kind of concise plan that I tried to deliver. So like that, I think that's even giving myself a little bit of grace, but also just, I haven't been clear yet.
Yeah, right. Like what else is true here?
Yeah.
And it was just that, I didn't find the words yet.
Yes.
To like create this, and
Yes.
it's not really. Sorry, that was not a good question. Where it was like, "How are you stupid?"
It wasn't a very clear question.
It wasn't clear. No. So, choice moving forward. Like, so what else could you think in that moment?
Well, it certainly is like, okay, I just haven't been clear here.
Okay.
Like that's something
My
where
bad.
it's like,
My bad. I'm not
yeah,
clear
it's
enough.
just, I can own that. Like, okay. Oh, or let me just try a different approach. So I want to own approach because again, one of my contributions is I know that I can clarify the vision. It's like where my executor and my visionary kind of comes together is I can architect well, a design and kind of into an executable plan.
Yeah, so you're jumping ahead, but that's okay.
Okay. Thanks.
What contributions and ideal conditions would you lean into here?
Okay. Well,
knowing you're melancholic.
So as a melancholic, I can listen well. I can be a good listener.
Okay.
And also I'm good to just, I'm good with silence and I'm good with a pause and being like, okay, like one of my favorite expressions in the military that we got was like, take a tactical pause because from the cleric side of me, it's like, it's a pause, but it's very intentional. Like there's action that's taking place in a tactical pause. So that was something that was awesome.
So you're taking a tactical pause.
Took a tactical pause.
That would be like an ideal condition.
Yes. And yes, so that's creating the space for me to pause, regroup, rethink, maybe ask some questions.
That's another
to clarify.
melancholic thing.
Yeah, well, it's like having enough information to make a decision because it was like, okay, I want to make a decision how I can explain this more clearly. Okay, I need to understand a little bit more where the confusion is. Okay, so pause, form a question, ask the question, listen. Those are some ideal conditions I could have taken.
Okay. Space, time, just,
I could have made.
tactical
Yep.
pause. What contributions could you lean into more?
Well, it's the listening piece. That's one of the contributions. But just providing clarity to the plan. I mean, that's something that I think is good. So it's like before we actually execute on the plan, we're going to have a clear vision, design, all be on the same page, and then we move forward.
Okay.
Right. So that's something I know I can do well.
And all those things are accessible to you.
They are. Yes.
Well, there you go.
Cool.
So like, let's land this plane. If this were to happen again and your brain wants to go to, am I taking crazy pills or I'm stupid or whatever, what would you do instead?
Okay. I want to think the thought, all right, how might it, maybe I just haven't been clear enough yet. Or how can I provide more clarity to this? Or, okay, let's understand what's going on, really, where the confusion is, and just pause. Let's just pause.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like what I want to give myself permission to do. I think what was going on here was a Friday afternoon. I was trying to rush it and just get off the phone and, like, get into the weekend, too.
And it was
like,
almost like a bigger conversation of what you were willing to
so I was,
go
like,
into.
rushing it, and it was, like, and my achiever was, like, in overdrive. It's like, let's just check one more box and get everybody on the same page, and it created more confusion.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome. All right, on to the next thing. What was another trigger of yours?
Okay, this one actually involves you a little bit more. So like I and don't worry, she's not going to be surprised here. She's not going to be triggered. I don't think so. Okay, so inadequate quiet and alone time for reflection. That can be a trigger for a melancholic, and I'll own that.
I mean, that's one of my triggers too, if I'm going to be totally honest.
Everybody
and I'm
needs
very
quiet.
low in that. But yes.
Everybody needs some quiet. Okay. So others who act without thinking or make rash decisions. Okay. Uninformed decisions, just like out of emotion. And not having sufficient information to make a decision. All right.
So this is a blend.
Kind of blends all three of those triggers to make a perfect little storm.
Can you give me an example?
Yes. All right. So Erin and I, we're married. We live together. We also operate a business together. And so oftentimes I'll just be like making a sandwich, in the kitchen, and Erin will be with deep in ideation and thinking through all of these fun things that are going on inside her head. Like, and amazing how a lot of those fun things have turned into amazing products that have given tremendous value and allowed us to grow. And she'll ask a question, something like, "Hey, what do you think I should price this thing at?" And she'll like give a 1-sentence description of the thing and say, how much do you think someone would pay for this? And so my head immediately goes into like, well, that's the situation. That's the example.
Okay.
My thought is, I do not like, this is way too early in the development of this product to even be talking about price. It's like, it's way too early because there's like, and the reason why I justify that is there's not enough information. Again, you hear a little bit of the echo of that trigger, not having enough information. And this is a rash decision, right? Rash decision making. It's like, so I don't want to throw something out there and then be beholden to it when I haven't really done my due diligence in it. And then also, this is more on me, not on Erin, but I put this pressure on myself to give an answer right now because I'd like to be very helpful. And I like to be able to move on and not have to give any more time to something than it really deserves. But I can't really answer this question clearly in a rapid amount of time.
Okay. So is that the thought? I can't answer this question in a rapid amount of time.
She's demanding an important decision, and it's too early in the process.
It's kind of weird that I'm coaching you on me right now.
I think you're mature enough.
And we're talking about it like I'm like a third person. Like she, just say like you are demanding. It's fine. No. So the thought is
the woman you put me here with.
Yes, she is demanding an important decision. Sorry.
You, Erin, are demanding an important decision way too early in the process.
And then I'm just going to go, that's a thought, you know? I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
all right. So when you think she's demanding, demanding an important decision way too early in this process, how do you feel?
I feel rushed.
Okay. Like if we were to look under rushed, what would that look like?
Ooh.
What emotion would be under there?
I wasn't ready for that question. Rushed, it's like powerless. It's something around the powerless side of things, where it's just like, maybe a little bit of incompetent.
Okay,
but it's not so much the incompetence. It's just I feel powerless. Yeah.
How appropriate. We're working on ownership in this series. So you feel powerless. And then what do you do? What actions come from that?
Okay.
Like how do you show up with her?
I will, I try to create space by being passive aggressive. All right. And like hoping that you will back off.
What does that look like?
It's,
because I can tell you what it looks like. No,
so yeah, you know exactly what it looks like. What I'll start by doing is I'll start by giving all the reasons why I can't answer that question right now.
Okay.
And, without asking any of the clarifying, I don't ask any clarifying questions to give me the information to answer the question. I don't share my process with you for how I come up with pricing out products. So again, I don't give you a clear way of like understanding how to give me the information, or I don't even help you to like in the future to say, hey, you know what? I can answer this question a lot better if you give me X, Y, and Z information. And let's see what else. So yeah, that's the passive aggressive where I just kind of scoff. Sometimes I just flat out ignore it or change the subject.
Yes, I've noticed. I am still holding the space too, by the way. But I have noticed that. I'm like, did you hear me? And that triggers something in me. And
then Erin goes, what am I taking crazy pills here? Okay. Yeah.
Seriously.
So, I get, all right. So like, I just kind of try to create some space.
Yep. So you get away from it. You don't answer it.
I hope you just like will move on to something else.
Okay. All right.
So,
and then like, what does that create?
One of my tactics.
What does that create?
I actually create your trigger conditions.
Yes.
With that. And it goes into which are negative attitude, a can't do attitude, and also like being misjudged. It's just like,
doesn't it create demands on me too? Which is like kind of funny because it's like she's demanding this of me. Like it kind of creates demands on like it's kind of like creating a demand that you're not even asking for, but like, hey, you should have thought through all these other things before you've asked this stupid question.
You sure you're still out of the pool, babe?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel demanding like that. I can see how you could say that. It's more so I just never clarify like what I need to do, and we never actually sit down and say like, okay, this is what a real pricing conversation looks like. Right. So we don't I don't actually create a process, which is also like one of my gifts is like putting things that we do again and again, building a process for them so we can do them efficiently and not underprice or overprice. Right. Yeah. So.
All right, so I'm going to ask another question. I'm going to coach you a little bit. Well, actually, let's first we're going to ask the important question here. What is outside of your locus of control?
Okay, the fact that you asked me a question.
Okay. Anything else?
Outside my locus of control. No, that's really like all that comes to mind is like the fact that you have a question and you would like to have an answer to the question.
So what is inside your locus of control?
All of it. Like my thoughts, like my ability to actually put a process in place and how to like build pricing. But even like to be able to like say, hey, I'm going to give you a ballpark on this, like just a gut. Don't take it for what it's. Don't take this to the bank, right? It's just like I think it could be around X amount of dollars or something like that, or. And
I'd be like totally fine too with that. I'd be like,
you'd probably just move on.
I would. Like, I would just be like, cool, thanks,
thanks. Back ideating. And it's just like, and like there's this fear in the back of my head where it's just like, but you said it was going to be this much money. I was just like, I know, but like. It's a whole different product from what you just presented in the one sentence summary before.
Which everything that you're just describing is all within your locus of control. It's all inside your head.
So many thoughts. And I'm a melancholic, so I have lots of thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? So I can do it. I can do it really well. And it's not, and here's the thing, like, guys, like you might be thinking as a melancholic, man, I have too many thoughts. It's not true. It's like, that's a thought. You have too many. That's a judgment. This is a superpower. Do you think my microphone is in a perfect spot? That's also my thought. This is a superpower that we have this mind that can explore things from all these different angles. And like every great power comes a responsibility to tame it.
Yeah.
Right? Like all the origin stories are like these superheroes that are coming and like taming their superpower so it doesn't cause all of this chaos and destruction because it's a great power, right? So this is like part of the locus of control work is like we're learning to just tame it, right?
Yeah.
Tame this power of our thinking.
Well, that taming moves you from that victim role to the hero.
Yes, you take responsibility. Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my question. From this sentence, she is demanding an important decision way too early in this process. Which word feels the heaviest? What word from that sentence?
Demanding.
All right, tell me about that. What does demanding look like in your mind?
It has to happen right now.
Oh, okay. So she's like giving you a clock and like putting a timer on or something.
Yeah, and like telling me what to do.
Okay.
Yes, which is also like that's my choleric trigger. You know, it's like I don't like being told just flat out what to do.
Sure.
It's like no.
So that would make sense why you would kind of like shut down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because in your mind you're thinking like I am like going like, all right, starting my stopwatch right now.
You're doing a great job holding the space for this right now.
Oh, thanks.
So mature of you.
Thank you.
Mature.
No, okay. So what else? Like, what else could be true here? If you didn't use that word demanding, if there could be another word that you could use.
Erin's curious about how much this costs. Like, oh, Erin's curious. Erin's got a question. Erin she's just, Erin wants my input.
What does that feel like?
That feels good because I like to give input. That's like my... Yeah, I like that.
That's interesting. So just changing that one word or removing that word demanding, which was like the heaviest word.
Yeah, that and then followed by like way too early. So that's like a judgment, like way too early.
That's what I call extra words. You know, like it's so extra. Like it's just like emphasizing, putting like a huge emphasis on something that's probably not, doesn't need to be emphasized.
Sure.
So Erin wants my input.
Erin wants my input.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Like, watch me make up an answer for her, and she'll just move on.
Just pull this thing out of my butt.
That's right.
There you go.
I mean, that's what I do when people ask me a lot of questions.
$10.
So
$1.
Yes. I'd be like, well, I disagree with that, but okay, thanks for your input. So
I could just give you like, I don't know, $50. just throw a number out like next time, and you'll be like, oh, thanks, and just go on. Like, great. All right.
It might work, actually.
I do that with Avila sometimes. It's like, I don't know, like color it purple.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Looks good. Looks great. Okay.
That's what us collaborators, like, we just love getting other people's input. We don't always take it. We don't always take it and just be like, oh, okay, whatever you say. But it's just like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. So, okay. So
I could just lean into that I'm stupid question and give you the dumbest answer.
You should try it. Try it next time.
I don't know.
So moving on.
You pay them.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
Please.
Go
What
ahead, Coach.
contributions can you lean into here? We have that right there if you want to take a look at it.
Yeah. So I
Show
like, I know
everyone our workshop.
I'm a perceptive listener again.
Okay.
So like, that's the other thing. Again, I'm back to like, listen, refine, assess, and then respond.
Okay.
That's something. So like, even being able to like have the maturity to be like, hey, that's a great question. I can get you a better answer tomorrow or a better answer in 5 minutes if you give me a little bit more questions, if you're willing to go in this route. How important is it to have this answer right now? Like, so I think just the stopping and pausing. Again, I can lean in my contribution of making a process. So making more processes for kind of getting this information.
Which
That's a little bit more my
love
choleric
following.
Side. Do you?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'm totally kidding.
Do you? Do you, babe? I can do lots of processes for you.
I'm like, oh, boring.
I've been waiting for you to say this so long. I've got so many processes to give you. I can grasp complex concepts and help others do the same. I think that's another melancholic side of things. So like pricing can be, I don't know, it can be simple, but there can be a number of different factors that go into it and making it sure it's positioned well, right? And staying with the brand and staying with the market, values, something like that, comps out there. So those are all things that I think I could lean into.
What ideal conditions could you create for yourself and for me?
Time to reflect. That's definitely it. Like time to reflect. And I want to get off this podcast and actually want to create a process for pricing discussions.
Okay.
I think that'd be a really good thing that we could even teach our coaches about. Our coaches are constantly asking these questions. Like, how much should I charge for this and that?
Yeah.
So it could be something we can even turn into.
Would you look at that?
Aha.
We just changed one word, and it was from demanding, this is a timed, you need to come up with an answer for this right now.
How much do you think someone would pay for that that product? How to price out your product?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's so interesting. Okay. So time to reflect, build a process for thinking through the whole thing. You could ask more clarifying questions too.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. Something also that I think is important for a melancholic is to have good counsel as well. So that's another ideal condition that I find for me is to have good counsel. Good counsel can come in the form of, having a good book, in this case on pricing out products, or a good podcaster, or, somebody that's a little further down the journey than you that specializes in this area to be able to kind of, sick your learner on. So that could be that. Could be I've got a business coach that I'll touch base on. I'll ask questions like this, and then he's a good coach, so he usually reflects it right back on me. And but give some good input on that too. So that's another way I can do it.
So ultimately, what did you learn from this entire thing? Walking away from this
whole thing?
Yeah.
Man, really, I think for a melancholic, it's to know that your mind is pretty powerful. My mind is pretty powerful. And pausing, like being very intentional about taking tactical pauses in those moments whenever you feel kind of that rushed or powerless place. Often triggers lead to a place of powerlessness, I find.
Well, it's so interesting about triggers because triggers,
like across the board.
Triggers are thoughts.
I know.
They're your thoughts about external things.
Yes, this is true.
So it's not just like pausing when you notice that you're being triggered, but also pausing and asking yourself, where is this trigger? Like, what thought is this trigger coming from?
Yeah. Is this thought that is a trigger even true? Is it reality?
Yeah.
Like, is it a reality right now that, like, you know, I'm having a rash decision forced on me?
Yeah, right.
And I have to make it right now. Or that somebody's telling me what to do. Is that even true?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that place where you are abdicating that power that you do have, that ownership that you do have.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, guys, if you ever find yourself feeling this in this place of powerlessness, it's probably because you're responding to one of your triggers, which are thoughts. Which are thoughts that can be challenged.
And this is something I think is actually really helpful with this workshop, you guys, because I'm a trained spiritual director as well. We often will give our directees a program of life, and that program of life is often centered around like a vice that they're trying to overcome, right? And I mean, you got your three kind of core, your pride, vanity, or sensuality that are, you know, like the common, you know, core vices there. And it's just like, okay, well, like, hey, you struggle with vanity. That's me. Like, work on not being so vain. Like, it can be kind of put a lot on the person to figure out, okay, like, where's my vanity even showing up?
Yeah, it's kind of abstract. It's not giving like specifics.
Yeah. Whereas I find that this workshop and identifying the triggers, which are literally thoughts that you commonly think that are kind of like on autopilot, that is an incredible place to do your work. Focus on those work. So when I go into and I do this workshop and we get into people uncover these trigger statements, it's like, hey, that is, if you want to grow in virtue, that is ground zero. Because growing in virtue is going to, when you're living virtuously, you're going to be living more in your place of contribution and less in your weaknesses. Okay.
Yes.
You're going to be creating more of your ideal conditions and less of your non-ideal conditions. And your triggers actually work against that. They propel you more towards your weaknesses, and then
keep you in powerlessness.
Yeah, they contracept those contributions, and they create more of those non-ideal conditions. So if we just identify where those triggers are showing up, grow an awareness around those things, and start to counter ambush those triggers when they show up, or just even cultivate thoughts that are contrary to those things, or ways of reflecting on, okay, am I really in this situation? Is this really a big problem? Exactly what you said. Is somebody really telling me what to do right now and like putting a demand on me? And then you will, I promise you show up so much more differently at that point.
Yeah.
And you have great gains because rather quickly, because you're really diagnosing and getting to the thoughts that are particular to you that are propelling you down a place of vice. So it's a solid workshop. Yeah,
and I mean, also in MCA this month, if you're listening to this in real time, this month, come and join us in the Academy, because we're going to be talking about how to stop judging others. And a lot of the root of our judgments of others are our triggers, like those thoughts about, hey, they should be acting this way, or they should be thinking this way. And so they're really like interconnected. They're very like, they were certainly, when we were creating this workshop that's in the Academy, how to stop judging others, they were certainly pivotal in creating this workshop, all of the temperaments triggers. Also, if you haven't taken our temperaments assessment, I'm so sorry that we're just telling you this. You can go take it. The link is in the bio. It's free. It's 10 minutes long. Yeah, thank you. Sorry. Link is in the show notes. It's free. It's 10 minutes long. And you can share that link with other people in your family and learn a little bit more about them.
Yes.
So if you are melancholic, you're welcome for this one.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed it.
For next week, we're going to be talking about the phlegmatic.
Yes. Cool. All right, team.
All right, guys. God bless.
See ya. Hey, thanks for sticking with us in the Catholic Coaching Podcast. If you like what you heard,
please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.